Welcome back. Let's dive right into today's explainer and unpack a truly fascinating update that just dropped in the Linux world. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the KDE Plasma 6.7.1 update from June 2026. If you've been following desktop environments for a while, you know exactly how crucial these updates are for your everyday workflow. So, 6.7.1. Now, you might see that tiny .1 and think, oh, it's just a minor point release. But honestly, do not let that fool you. Sure, it follows the massive 6.7 drop that brought us a ton of new features, but what we're looking at today is a dense, incredibly intense week's worth of community effort packed into one single update. We're talking critical translations, huge under-the-hood patches, and vital fixes that keep your system running like a well-oiled machine. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll kick things off with a June bug fix release, dive right into under-the-hood improvements, explore refining the user experience, and finally wrap up with the power of community. All right, part 1, the June bug fix release, setting the context and scope. Now, keep in mind that Plasma 6.7 literally just launched with some major new modules, which makes 6.7.1 entirely dedicated to refinement. When you're reading through a changelog, a line might just say, fixed a memory leak, or ignored an irrelevant mode change. And yeah, they sound pretty small on paper, but in practice, these are the exact tweaks that prevent your system from slowing to a crawl after 3 days of uptime. They are absolutely crucial for overall stability, ensuring your beautiful Plasma desktop actually stays out of your way and just lets you work. Moving right along to part 2, under the hood improvements, or what I like to call the unseen engine. Okay, before we get totally lost in the weeds here, we gotta talk about KWin. For those of you newer to the Linux ecosystem, KWin is the core window manager and compositor for the KDE Plasma desktop. Think of it as the essential plumbing. It's responsible for managing all your app windows and rendering everything smoothly on your display. Basically, if KWin isn't happy, your screen isn't happy. And wow, the sheer volume of hardcore technical commits the devs push through for KWin and DRM, that's Direct Rendering Manager, is impressive. Let's rapid fire through these. They added a render device check and import scanout buffer. They disabled color pipelines on NVIDIA and AMD to sidestep display issues. They fixed a nasty screencast memory leak in new stream params. Oh, and they fixed the check for EGL_XT_device query. For the developers out there, you know exactly how messy these display protocols can be. But for everyone else, this translates to far fewer crashes, 0 system slowdowns during screen recording, and just generally smoother communication with your graphics hardware. This solid technical foundation stretches across different rendering technologies too. In Vulkan, the swap chain now imports buffers correctly. Over in OpenGL, they fixed an issue with resetting the global share context, which is super vital for making sure different visual elements actually play nicely together. And in Wayland, specifically regarding XGG decorations, the system now ignores irrelevant preferred mode changes. So the main takeaway here is that whether you're gaming on Vulkan, rendering on OpenGL, or managing a modern display via Wayland, these protocol fixes guarantee a much more stable visual pipeline. That's a huge deal, especially if you're running a multi-monitor setup. Section 3, refining the user experience. Let's check out the polished surface. Here's a classic before and after of a really visible bug in Plasma keyboard. Before this update, if you were trying to type special characters, the diacritics overlay would try to close itself twice. And worse, it would actually disable your key repeat. It was honestly incredibly frustrating for multilingual users. But after 6.7.1, we now have highly reliable dead key and compose key handling with that overlay. Typing special characters is exactly what it should be, a smooth, completely frustration-free experience that you don't even have to think about. And the polish absolutely doesn't stop there. Look at these visible tweaks across the Plasma desktop. In the Discover App Center, they're finally generating valid AppStream URLs specifically for Flatpak apps, which makes installing software way more seamless. For notifications, they explicitly set the rotation in the unread state so everything aligns perfectly. In the kickoff menu, that sidebar highlight now switches properly right when you hover. And I love this attention to detail. In the Task Manager, they squashed a bug where notification badges would literally overflow at extreme margins of usage. These seem like tiny visual tweaks, sure, but fixing notification alignments in App Center URLs drastically improves your daily navigation. It really gives the system that premium feel. Now, what does this all mean when we look at the big picture? When you break down the volume of fixes in the 6.7.1 changelog, a really clear story emerges. The UI and apps like Plasma Desktop and Discover got some fantastic, much-needed polish, making up about 20% of the fixes. But look at that massive 60% chunk. That's all dedicated to KWin and the backend. It just goes to show that the vast majority of this week's community effort went directly into stabilizing that unseen engine we talked about earlier. Without a doubt, stability was priority number one. Finally, Section 4, the power of community, bringing it all to life. So how do we actually get our hands on this? Well, the release notes outline a clear hierarchy for trying out Plasma 6.7.1. Step 1 is definitely the easiest. Just boot a live USB image so you can test drive it without touching your main system. Step 2 is for the container fans out there. Spin it up real quick via Docker. Step 3 is your daily driver approach. Install the packages directly from your Linux distribution once they hit the repos. And Step 4, for the absolute power users, you can grab the community instructions and compile the software directly from source. There's literally an entry point for every level of technical expertise. But none of this, literally none of it, happens without the community. This is a direct quote from the official announcement, and it hits hard. KDE is a free software community that exists and grows only because of the help of many volunteers that donate their time and effort. It's so easy to take a world-class desktop environment for granted, right? But it's absolutely vital to remember the collaborative, open-source nature of the entire KDE ecosystem. It's built by people who simply want to make great software. And if you're sitting there wondering how you can get involved, here is exactly how to give back. You don't just have to be some C++ wizard doing complex coding and bug fixing, though, hey, they always need those. You can write documentation, you can help out with translations, which is a massive part of a global project like this. You can join the Plasma Matrix channel or mailing list to give direct feedback to developers. You can hunt down issues on Bugzilla. Or if you don't have the time, but you do have the means, you can become a KDE V supporting member, or just donate directly via PayPal. Every single thing on this list keeps the project thriving. Well, that brings us to the end of our explainer today. We've looked at the engine, the paint job, and the amazing crew that built the car. So I'll leave you with this final thought. How will you contribute to the next release? Whether it's submitting a bug report, translating a menu, or even just helping a new user on the forums, you have the power to make an impact in the open source community. Think about it. Thanks for learning with me today. Stay focused, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.